It's just one thing, but great everyone. Or is it just me? And my fault, what you want? Nothing baby. Why need more? Because it's right inside of me. There's so much on it, baby. I need more of you. Would you please want me? Because I'm never going to stay. I give you the key to my body. Take up your own.
Everybody, shout out to local businesses that should love you. Oh, what a waste of sleepers. Let me visit Jersey. Okay, 7 days a week. One shout out to that. Volunteer Restaurant. 27 Holden Street. Open 7 days a week. DJ Caribbean takes it 150 Halsey Street, Brick City, New York, New Jersey. Right here in the heart of downtown, behind the Prudential Building and Tea Award Coffee Company, on Broad Street between Franklin and Federal Square. Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. These are local businesses that show love and support to this podcast, and we definitely want to shout them out to let you know that when you are in downtown area of North Carolina, pass by one of these places, just let them know that you heard about their business on our Xtra-Hype Connection podcast. Quite sure they'd be most appreciative to hear that the word about them is getting out. Well, we thank you for that. We got one more selection to play for you before we get our podcast started tonight. Now, remember, tonight is our bite-sized Xtra-Hype Connection podcast. That means tonight you can be the speaker. Low Focus and I are still the host. That's right, with most. We still control the board. That's right. And of course, our housekeeping rules are still in effect. Number one, respect. We give respect to each and everybody here. Everybody who's here, respect. That's right. Tonight, Make sure not to interrupt anybody while they're talking. Please make sure that as people are speaking or they are fielding questions, please give way to somebody once they're done for about 2 or 3 seconds. And then, if you would like to chime in, please do. That would be proper and correct and also respectable. Also, once again, let's stay on topic tonight because our topic is specific. So, there should be no variations to the topic tonight because it is very plain and very clear as to what we are speaking with this evening. So stay on topic. Please do that so that we don't have to come behind you and steer you back in to the topic because we can all keep our focus right where it is, dead center mass on target. And lastly but not least, if you have background noise, we understand. Sometimes you may come in. You may not know that you're unmuted, but we can hear everything in the background. And if you have background noise that you can't control, please keep your phone on mute, *6, unmute your line. And if you have your own hard mute on your own phone, well, of course, you unmute yourself from your phone. But that would be 2 mutes that unmutes that you would have to do. So basically, those are our housekeeping rules. And even if you have background noise and you want to ask a question or you would like to make a comment, we still welcome you to come in, and please do that. Why? Because you're here with us in our Boogie-Down Brick City virtual studio. This is the Xtra-Hype Connection with your hosts, Marcus and Flow Focus. So tonight, don't forget, tonight's our bite-sized podcast. We're about to get started in just a minute or two. But if you bear with us, we got one more selection to play. You got a few minutes to please invite some people and get ready to step right up to the plate tonight. All right. Once again, thank you for chiming in and joining us right here on the Xtra-Hype Connection podcast. Monday night on the Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network.
Play.
All right, everybody. All right. Once again, welcome back to Monday night's bite-sized Xtra-Hype Connection podcast. Tonight's topic that you, the speaker, can unfold. Tonight's topic that we want you to expound on is a topic. It's just a statement. But let's break it down in practical terms. Aren't we just fooling ourselves over and over? Aren't we just fooling ourselves over and over? Now, that is our topic tonight. You are the speaker. Please do not be afraid. Don't be nervous. Step right up. You got 10 minutes. An additional 5 for Q&A if you'd like. But tonight, that will be our topic. Before we start, of course, you already know the host with the most. No focus. He's going to come in. He's going to say hello to you. He's going to let you know how things are going to go tonight on his bite-sized podcast and get you ready to unpack the topic that you're going to speak to tonight. So without further ado, slow focus. Would you please come on in and do what you do, brother?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
5 by 5.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate everyone for joining us today right here on the Xtra-Hype Connection podcast with the Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. We are coming to you live from the virtual studio, the Boogie-Down Brick City virtual studio, that is. And we are live on all platforms, not only YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, but also at prologicstrategies.com/extra-hype. You know how to spell it. You spell it wrong, you got it right. Xtrahype. Tap in with those guys and remember to give a call in if you guys are listening to us from the virtual studio. You want to tap in with the Xtra-Hype Connection podcast Monday night bite-sized podcast. Feel free to go ahead and call in, tap in, guys, and we will get you on the horn here. But I do want to emphasize that the groups at prologicstrategies.com will allow you to tap in with us ahead of time so that we can go over perhaps, a bit more in detail what types of discussions you might want to have or the topic you want to present on our Monday night podcast, bite-sized podcast, that is. And I look forward to more engagement in lots of different ways because Prologic Strategies is always growing, always building, looking for more ways to cater to you guys because that's what we do. We are here for you. This is your podcast. That's why we're giving you the platform tonight to go ahead and share with us what's on your mind. So don't forget to sign up with prologicstrategies.com as a free member while you still can and tap into the groups go ahead and join the group, create a group, tell your friends about it. I want this to be your home away from home, the social media away from all of the noise, so to speak. We're a fearless community based on recognition, so we're here to recognize those of you who want that. So without further ado, I don't want to speak too long, but I do want to invite anyone who is available. If you can see the number up on your screen, if you're in the virtual studio, it's there, the 520-525-8633. Tap in with us so you can be part of the conversation or just listen in and enjoy yourselves, guys. And if there is anyone on the line, feel free to tap in. If you want to just say hello, you're not ready to speak for your 10 minutes, I'd love to hear who's here with us now. And anybody who's available to tap in with us, go ahead and feel free to make it happen right now, guys. I'm ready for you. We are primed and ready, rearing to go. So go ahead and don't forget to press *6 to unmute yourself. If you would like to speak, you are auto mute on the line when you come in. So *6 to unmute yourself, and we will be able to hear you just fine. But I do appreciate everyone for showing up and showing out here with us tonight on the Xtra-Hype Connection podcast with Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. So feel free to chime in. We are here for you guys. It's an open discussion, more or less, but we do want to give you a clear, free 10 minutes to go over what you'd like to speak about, and then give the audience 10 minutes to tap in with us, to share any thoughts and aspirations they might have from what you just spoke about. I look forward to anyone tapping in with us. Feel free, guys. Don't all speak at once. Don't forget. *6 to unmute yourself. *6. We're live here on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, and our website, prologicstrategies.com. I look forward to anyone joining in to be our first presenter tonight on our bite-sized podcast for Monday night. Our topic tonight is, in our series, Matter-of-Factly Speaking. Are we just fooling ourselves over and over again? That's the topic for tonight. So feel free to tap in with your 10-minute bite-sized podcast, or if you just want to give a hearty howdy-do to our listeners, let us know where you're calling from, and we would appreciate anyone chiming in tonight. That is the good old 10-4 on everybody tapping in with us tonight. 520-525-8633. If you can hear us, go ahead, feel free to tap in. *6 to unmute yourself. *6 unmutes your line so you can tap in with us tonight. But our topic, once again, matter-of-factly speaking.
Unmuted.
Are we just fooling ourselves over and over again? Welcome, guys. If you can hear us, go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to speak. *6. *6 to unmute yourself.
Hey, this is Joffrey. I think Marcus must have unmuted the line, the room. I was just about to unmute, and it said unmuted. So, I'd like to tackle it this evening.
You have the floor, Brother Joffrey. Feel free.
Okay. All right. You say the topic is, am I just fooling myself? Well, that's an interesting topic, and it's quite fitting for what I'm doing, because I'm working within the white man system of so-called justice, where there is no justice. Now, I want y'all to pay attention closely. U.S. Supreme Court has ruled in California versus Sardari D. and Torres versus Madrid, that whenever a person is under the control and complies with the control of law enforcement, and that necessarily doesn't have to be handcuffed, but when he realizes he's under arrest and he complies, the arrest is a completed event at that time. In New Jersey, assaults, no, not the assault statute. In New Jersey versus Kane says that in order for there to be a resisting arrest charge, the resistance must come before the arrest is completed. Please keep these facts in mind because this is quote-unquote law, okay? And Williams, State of New Jersey versus Williams. In Williams it says, or it indicates, I'll put it this way because I'm not reading the word for word, that after an arrest is completed, subsequent to the completion of that arrest, it's not resisting arrest. Whatever happens, even if the person runs away or if he fights, it's not resisting arrest. Once an arrest is complete, there can be no resisting charge that is applicable. Also, in the state of New Jersey, okay, the 12C assault law, it says in B, I don't have the whole law to read to you, but it says if the quote-unquote victim of the assault is law enforcement, a firefighter, an EMT, a bus driver, and I think we said the teacher. I could be wrong about the teacher, but believe me, teachers, you're protected. Okay? If it's one of those, then the charge of assault, simple assault, is automatically, do not pass go, do not collect $200, automatically a felony, aggravated assault. So, with that being the case, you cannot have a simple assault against law enforcement when they're acting in concert with their authority, their duties. So, I'm in the credit union to make a deposit. I don't know if the teller had her rag on or what, but she don't want to take my deposit. Somebody gets the manager comes out, and he tells me I can leave. I tell him to call the police if he wants me to leave. I'm a member of the credit union since '86. Okay? He tells me I can leave. He offers me that I can leave. Okay? He goes in his office, he comes back out, and then I think he tells me to leave. And I said, give me something in writing, which he says he's not going to give me anything in writing. So I follow him when he goes back into his office, and I stop at his door. And I'm like, no, you got to give me something in writing or let the police come. Because I figure when the police come, they will tell me either, look, leave or be arrested. Of course, it could have been somebody that comes and says, oh, you told me to leave, he didn't leave, and they could have arrested me. But while I'm at his door and going back and forth with him, This credit union member gets up and he comes and he puts his hand on me. That's assault. The credit union manager tells him, no, leave it alone. Don't get involved. He pulls out a badge. He's a Jersey City cop. He usurps the manager's authority. Okay? And then next thing you know, he's throwing me across the room. He pouncing on me. So throwing me across the room, that's a kidnapping charge, moving me from one side of the room to the other against my will, and then false imprisonment. Okay, got to speed this thing up because I want your input. Remember, an arrest is an event according to the United States Supreme Court. Okay? After the event, what happens subsequent to the event cannot be resisting arrest, according to State versus Williams. Okay? Now, police arrive, they see this man falsely imprisoning me, but he's a cop. They know he's a cop. So they defer to him being a cop. And they join in his crime by arresting me. How? They kneel down, they put handcuffs on me, we stand up. Then they start going through my private areas. We learned about private versus public. When they entered into my pockets, this is a search. This is not a Terry pat-down. Okay? Carry a dot can and touching the field for weapons. But once they go into your private area, that's a search. And they call it a search incident to arrest. This is all inside the credit union. All right? Now, so I get arrested. It's caught on body cam that they're questioning this guy, and he's telling them what they're telling them, and they suggest to him, like resisting. Later on the same body cam, they're telling him, based on what you said, we're going to charge him with defiant trespass and aggravated assault because you identified yourself as a police officer. Okay. Now I need to finish. I need you to just keep track because I'm going to ask questions, and I really want your thoughts after you get all the details. Now, I get arrested. I get a summons. I got to go to court. But remember, there's a felony. The Hudson County prosecutor send this to the grand jury because it's a felony. Why is it a felony? It's a felony because the supposed victim is a police officer. The grand jury says, this is not a ham sandwich. No way, no how. No true bill. Instead of the Hudson County prosecutor dropping it at that point, he sends it down to municipal court and tells the municipal court, charge him with simple assault. Okay? I got to watch my time. Okay? Charge him with simple assault. Now remember, there's a law in the state of New Jersey with an automatic upgrade from simple to aggravated when the person is law enforcement. Okay, I'm going to leave it there unless someone has questions of me, but I'm going to ask what you who have heard my situation think so far. Please, someone, tell me what you think. Okay, no one has a thought. Okay, let me go. Okay, please.
So, if I'm hearing this whole thing correctly, it started at the teller window and it ended in the credit union with police officers. That's what I'm hearing. Now,
Okay.
you said at the end of this that the prosecutor didn't drop the charges, but actually charged simple assault. Now, my question is, was that charge upgraded or no?
Per the statute that the legislators concocted, it's automatically upgraded.
Wait a minute.
So he was right. Okay, go ahead.
Is there any written documentation that the charge was automatically upgraded?
Automatically.
No. In the process, do you have anything in writing that converts that simple charge to an upgraded aggravated assault charge with your name attached to it?
I have the statute.
Okay, but you don't have anything from.
Okay, remember.
That's what I'm asking.
Remember, initially I'm charged with aggravated assault because it's law enforcement. And I'm charged with aggravated assault because it's law enforcement because the statute makes it an automatic upgrade to a felony. So even if you bounce it back to simple because he's law enforcement, it's automatically a felony.
Okay. Now, what I'm asking you is not about the legislative statute because I understand how that works.
And I'm telling you yes, because of the statute, being what the statute is, he tried to create something that is not there.
That's not my question. See, the thing is, everything requires due process in process of action and process of law. So even if there is a provision in legislature, it must be moved upon. Now, the legislature cannot tell the court what to do. They can only provide what they have written in legislation for the court to then enact upon if they so find it to be viable. So either they've written down simple assault and left it there by itself, or they've written down simple assault and gone through a process and noticed you that we have upgraded this on this piece of paper from simple to aggravated. Here's your name, here's the date that it happened, and here's other subsequent information for you to know about the process and what you need to do next. So on paper, is it converted from simple to aggravated?
In the paper, I don't know. I don't have anything that says it's converted from simple to aggravated, except for the statute. And recall.
Okay, we're not talking about the legislature.
Okay, we are talking about the. Okay, in my 10 minutes, we're talking about the legislature because it's the legislature that writes the laws. And the governor signs the laws that the legislature comes up with. And then the judiciary, they act upon the laws. Just like when I had the reconsideration. When I had the reconsideration, in order to give...
One thing
okay, my 10 minutes is up? All right.
The question is, it's just Q&A, but I'm saying one thing at a time. The thing is, you're saying legislature, but the legislature does not hold court.
Okay, and I understand that, and I think everyone understands that. I don't want to call you confused. I really don't. But you're confused about something. You're really confused about something. Okay? The reason is the checks and balance.
The reason that you might be confused is because you're ascribing a function to the legislature that they don't do. They don't hold court, and they don't tell the court how to run the court's business. There are checks and balances, and that's within the supremacy clause between all three branches. There are checks and balances to make sure that no one overreaches into another. But the legislature may write the laws. The executive branch may approve and act on those laws to carry them out. But the judiciary, it is at their discretion to apply the law. But nobody tells them to do that because they have their own set of rules. And they are governed by a chief magistrate who runs that whole system. So I don't care what senator or congressman wrote a law. He's not going to go to the chief judiciary officer and says, hey, you got to put this in the way that we said. He says, oh, that's nice. You wrote, we can use it at our discretion. Thank you very much. Now take your ass back over there to Capitol Hill and get writing some more laws. Stay out of our business.
Okay,
it's called the supremacy clause and separation of powers. So I'm not confused.
That's right.
Now, I'm asking you. I am asking you.
I told you the answer to your question. No, I don't have any paperwork.
Brother Joffrey. Can I interest? I'm sorry, Miss. I appreciate you, Miss Joyce. Thank you, Miss Joyce. Thank you so much, Miss Joyce. I do appreciate you helping me out. I did want to chime in sooner. It's okay. Thank you, Miss Joyce. This is why we spoke about the rules in the beginning, Brother Joffrey. I think that when Brother Marcus was trying to ask you the question, when he kind of started his explanation, you jumped on it, and then the back and forth started happening. Give the grace and allow somebody to make their response. And you know, I would like it if people can author and say, I land here, so that now the person who does want to come in, and I like how a lot of people ask permission to speak, that is a further compliance issue that if, you know, we can formally indicate that we're finished so that the next person can formally indicate they would like to speak. That would alleviate a lot of the overtalk. And I do appreciate you guys for you know, just giving your opinions and perspectives on that. It's always appreciated. Let's just try to keep it a little bit more cordial. All right? Thank you guys so much. There was a question that Brother Marcus I wanted to let Brother Marcus actually finish asking so that Brother Joffrey can come in and respond.
Thank you, Flo. Appreciate you. And Joffrey, I really do appreciate you. I'm going to show you how much I appreciate you. Because I'm not going to really give you a question, but I'm going to give you my synopsis based on years of study and experience in this. See, what you didn't know, Joffrey, was that I was in this field for a number of years. So I know how this works. And no, I'm not on the bar. I didn't study law like that, but I executed. So I know how it works. Now, if on paper you don't have anything that says it was upgraded, they gave you a pass. You know why? Because if it didn't get written down, it didn't happen, and it doesn't exist, and presumptions can't be proven to be true without something factual. So they cut you loose. But if you want to keep going at them, by all means, put your energy there. But to them, it's non sequitur. And I land.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I think I've answered the question many times. In my way, I answered the question. Okay. Now, my situation, it's actually a continuum. They had no probable cause. That was the probable cause for the arrest, okay, and assault against law enforcement. So the police were correct in charging me, and the prosecutor had a decision to make. Do I keep it as a aggravated assault because the victim is a cop, or do I recognize there's nothing here? He ran with it. He ran with it, and he solidified the victim as being a cop. That's why he took it to a grand jury. And when the grand jury came back and said, no true bill, they told the prosecutor, you don't have anything to charge this man with this crime. And he was supposed to, but it's his discretion. It's his discretion to downgrade if he chooses. However, when you choose that particular charge because of the status of the victim, okay, it's automatically upgraded. Now, I believe it's in 1961. In 1961, Wong Song, New Jersey versus Wong Song, established that you can't play loosely. You can't come one way, and when you don't get your way, you just come another way. See, it's not like charging somebody. Time is up.
Time.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Time is
I
up.
appreciate you.
All right.
I do appreciate you, Brother Joffrey. I did want to make sure that we at least land somewhere, you know, I, for lack of a better term, healthy in the conversation, just so that the presentation and the Q&A wraps up accordingly. And, you know, it seems like it got somewhere that we can, you know, move on from. Because I had a lot of questions in, like, what you were asking, and as far as what the presentation was about, to say, you know, what do you think was the situation here? And I'm like, all right, it seemed like to me, we don't have a lot of information. It seems to me that the situation is a lot of he said, she said, or, you know, outside looking in, inside looking out type of thing, where you show up to your bank, credit union, you're having an off day with the young lady behind the counter. That's the information we need. What actually happens between you and the lady, it's kind of the sparking point from all of that. It's like, if we have a bad moment and she's like, listen, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And you're like, well, listen, you have to talk to me because I said so. That's the level where we start to push boundaries that are unnecessary. And then if we decide that now we feel wrong because we do feel justified over some situation that didn't have to get escalated, who made the escalation is the one who has the onus to, you know, I guess you could say burden of proof for the situation. So now the lady can sit there and say, I just didn't want to talk to this guy anymore. That's really her discretion. She doesn't have to. Now, for you to have whatever business you had to take care of at that window not get completed, however, whatever decision you decided to make your attempts to get it done, it was in their eyes across the line. So they had to take matters into their hands. You know, in that case, they had to proceed accordingly. So I don't know if we have enough information to really make any determination on whether or not I would have done something differently or you were right in the situation. It's just kind of very much conjecture at this point. And that's as much as I can say about it. I don't have any questions except for what really happened. You know. So I do appreciate you though, Brother Joffrey. You did a really good job presenting, and it is very much appreciated that you gave your time, energy, and effort to give us a chance to say, were you fooling yourself? In that case, I think again, not enough information. Right. I can't say whether or not we are fooling ourselves to say the clerk owes us their time of day, or these police officers deserve, to come in and have the information presented to them in a way that makes them feel like one way or another should be taken care of this way or that way. So it's a lot of conjecture, a lot of things. But I do want to proceed to the next speaker, if there is a next one who would like to share their bite-sized podcast. We are creeping up to 7 o'clock, and that's about a little over the halfway point here. So I look forward to our next presenter. If anyone would like to share, well, our topic tonight is, in a matter of factly speaking, are we just fooling ourselves over and over again? That's our topic today. So our second presenter is if our second presenter is primed and ready, feel free to unmute yourself. And if you're listening from our virtual studio on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and ProLogicStrategies.com and Twitch, feel free to call in 525-2585-8633. If our next presenter is ready, feel free to tap in. And if your mic is open and you're breathing a little bit too hard, go ahead and hit mute.
Yes, we do have someone who may have had a busy day today.
Oh boy, we are all tuckered out. We got all tuckered out.
There you go. Make it a bit.
Muted.
Okay, there we go. We don't want to put anybody on blast. They had a hard day. So we'll just go ahead and have you star 6 to unmute yourselves. Once again, it's coming from the Bite Size Podcast. And the topic is, are we just fooling ourselves over and over again? Okay. We can run with it.
2525-8633. If you're on the virtual studio, go ahead and tap in, sign in with us, share your 10 or so minutes, and we will get a 5 or so minute question and answer to proceed. Are we just fooling ourselves? As a matter of fact, speaking, our new series, as we proceed from the land of make-believe through making it make sense, and now, as a matter of fact, speaking. Star 6 to unmute.
I wanted to just add really quick. It's really not a presentation, but while we're waiting for our next presenter, this may give some food for thoughts. A lot of times, we have situations where, we feel pain, we feel anguish, we feel bitter, frustration. Sometimes we feel elated, we feel joy, we feel happiness, we feel ecstatic. However, is it that someone outside of ourselves is responsible for the negative stuff that we feel? And is it really us that we can thank for the great stuff that we feel when we feel those great emotions? Matter of fact, in speaking, a lot of times we give ourselves credit for the good things. But do we give ourselves some credit or a hand in some of the not so good things that we experience in our own existence? Well, sometimes we could just be fooling ourselves to accept one side of the coin, flip and call that heads, and then the other side of the coin, flip, see tails, and call that heads too. But just a little food for thought there. Until our next presenter steps up to the mic.
Hi.
Yes, indeed. Oh, hello, Miss Joyce. Let me just say one quick thing before I let you go here, because that reminds me. Yes, I appreciate you, Miss Joyce. Let me say this really quickly, because what Marcus just said reminds me of a quote, and I had to look it up. It's from 1883, a poem called Solitude by Ella Wheeler. When we smile or when we laugh, the whole world laughs with us. When we weep alone.
Alone.
And I'll land there.
I have to disagree. I've gone to too many funerals to agree with that statement. Really. Too many people have attended funerals, and you see the concern for the bereaved family. It's really something to behold. So I don't really think people feel your pain. So I don't really wholeheartedly agree with that statement. So I've actually stopped attending funerals. They're so sad. So I just go when it's all over and give the family the card, the sympathy card with my little note in it. So I can't totally agree with that statement. Maybe different ethnic groups, but the ethnic group I belong to, when people are, people show up and they look genuinely concerned, wanting to console the family members. So I can't agree with that statement. But what I wanted to say in regards to the topic, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm off topic for a moment. Ladies listening, I was at the forum Saturday, and the guys that I met were easy on the eye, I'm telling you, ladies. Okay, now back to the topic. I can't agree with that, because what I do, I think, even though I can't see the result, and what I do with a few other people, we work with families in the shelter, and I really focus on the children, seeing that the children have a good time. And I can't say that I don't think I'm fooling myself. I think the children genuinely appreciate that somebody thought of them. It was like one event we gave out rolling backpacks with the wheels that light up. They were fashionable back then. The wheels lit up when the kids pulled the backpack. And the kids were so excited. And things like that make me feel really, really good, hearing the excitement from the children. So you have to find within yourself what makes you feel that it's worth it, whatever you're doing, whatever effort you put out, that it was worth it. Within yourself. You can't worry about the person that received your effort if you feel that it was worth it. So,
okay.
That's being succinct. I don't know would anybody like to question me about it or disagree?
Well, this is Arlene. I came in later, and it was good to see you, Joyce, on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree and disagree. So with the statement that when we laugh, everybody laughs with us, and when we weep alone, I want to take that as in what we're going through, our personal triumphs, trials and tribulations. You know, everybody's not fortunate to have a surrounding a supportive system. And so a lot of people are struggling and suffering in silence. And that's the part of leaving alone. And then when there's a funeral, everybody comes out for the funeral. But it's like, okay, where was everybody prior to the person passing away? You know, when we look at why a lot of people pass away, it's not from freak accidents and things like that. It's from things that could have been prevented if the person had support, if they weren't isolated. You know, so that I agree with and disagree with. And I don't even want to say disagree. It's you're both right. It's just that it's what do we call it? What phase in the person's life are we looking at? At the end of the life, that's the last phase. Everybody coming out, right? And people get their flowers. Unfortunately, when they're no longer here, there's a thing with survival where people think that what makes up people also not support you and why you seem like why people are isolated is because people are looked at as competition. So while we're all in this life trying to make a life happen, people don't want to support the next person because they don't want to support somebody that they're in secret competition with. It's crazy, right? And then when you pass away, here comes everybody out the woodwork. But that's also because you're no longer a threat or a competition. So they're going to come out and give you your flowers now. So it's that aspect. But in regards to the question, are we fooling ourselves? Is this, because I came in pretty late, are we asking this question in regards to what's actually going on in the world today? And is there any hopes for the United States, like why we're still here? Is that what the question is in pertain to?
I think you can interpret it that way if you like. But go ahead, Marcus, because I would say yes, but also interpret it how you like.
But I thought it was just the individual, on the individual. Okay, all right.
Good evening.
Okay. So then I would say, in regards to that, I would hope people are not fooling themselves. I'm not fooling myself, but in the same token, I continue to say that this is a wonderful time to be alive, although it doesn't seem so for Black and indigenous people. We just need to stop begging them for their jobs. It's 2026. You know, hundreds of thousands of Black women and hundreds of thousands of Black men. That's a conversation that we're still not talking about. You know, we're still talking about the Black women that have lost their jobs. But, you know, for those of you who have tuned in over 2 months ago, I did do a segment of hundreds of thousands of Black men that have lost their jobs. And the numbers are astronomical, that you didn't even think that that's happening, because all we hear about is the sisters. But I'm saying this to say that we have so much skill sets, so much that we have acquired of these jobs that we've once had. Skill sets are transferable. You can now. It's going to take a while for you to for us to gain some how can I say finances to take care of ourselves. But we got to put in the work, right? So if I use myself as an example, I left my career back in 2010. I tried to get back into the industry, get a job. I've been told I'm overqualified for years. I cannot get a job to save my life, right? So now I have to be stuck being an entrepreneur. And I get to look at it in a positive or a negative way. So I'm going to look at this in a positive way. I'm not the type of personality that's fit to be in an office anyway. Because every time you're in the office, I got to deal with workplace bullying, because the average person is mediocre on the job. They do not put their best foot forward, and always got a problem when you put your best foot forward, right? Now you got to deal with the whole group that's tired of you because they feel like you make them look small. They don't understand they make themselves look small. But one person that is I don't want to say overcompensating, but just one person that's great at what they do on the job can throw up a whole office. And this is not just a me thing. Many women get pushed out of jobs. Many women, and especially if the woman is resourceful, looks good, voluptuous, sensual, dressed nice. It's like the whole package. 9 times out of 10, those women are pushed out of jobs. Oftentimes, those women resort to stripping and finding other ways to make a living, because they cannot keep a job, and it is not because they're not good workers. It is because they continue to get pushed out of jobs. And it's not just the co-workers, it is also the bosses. So instead of wanting to get back into a system, and I know we need a paycheck, what we got to learn how to do is acquire more grit as far as we don't need the things that we don't need. Get to the basics until we can get back on our feet to where we can get some of the luxuries. But as long as you can get the basics and take care of your portion of the bills, you're surviving. It's not to say, I mean, you can't, get vacation yet and things like that, but that time will come. But when you are transferring the skill sets, so what I'm doing now, I'm still a mediator, right? But I do Grubhub on the side to make money. There's going to be a time where I don't need to do Grubhub anymore, but I'm still doing other things to keep money in my pocket to pay my bills. And a lot of the skill sets that I've acquired as a project manager has been transferred throughout different industries or different things that I have done. You don't lose those skill sets. And it has always given me an edge up in everything that I have done thus far. So in that, when we break out to do our own thing and build our own ecosystems and things of that nature, we will start to find that this system, it'll be like we're ghost to the system. We won't get caught up in some of the things that we're caught up in the system because now we're out of the way doing our own thing. And I know we've done that with Black Wall Street, Rosewood. We shouldn't look at the past and think that it can't happen again. We need to look at the past and say, okay, what preventative measures can we come up with to protect ourselves so that these types of things won't happen? And one of my statements in regards to that is we don't have to isolate ourselves from the rest. We can stay and live just how we're living amongst whoever we're living amongst while we're making a living and building our own ecosystems in silence and taking care of ourselves in silence. Mm-hmm. And then I rest.
Okay. Hey, Ethan.
Hold on.
Sure.
Hold on, Latoya.
Sure.
Sister Arlene,
a lot.
You got a few minutes if you want to do a Q&A, if you want to open up for anyone.
Okay.
Got a couple minutes.
Okay, if anybody wants to ask me questions, go right ahead. I'm here to pick up. It's a Grubhub order. Yeah, Grubhub. Michael? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. See, I'm doing Grubhub right now.
Okay, yes. Can I be heard? Break it.
Yes.
Yes. You spoke on us being the indigenous. Could you speak to that in reference to how we have the right to create our own culture and society on this landmass of our ancestors?
Oh, that's a good question. So for one, who's stopping us? It's not even a conversation that's on the map to stop us. They don't even realize that we're having these conversations, and many of us are moving in silence. There are indigenous people that have been recognized this year as indigenous of this land, and they're federally recognized. More and more of us are going to continue to do that. So in that, we can. It's like they're not giving us the permission because they don't have the power to take it from us. We just have to step up and do it. That's it. We just have to step up and do it. A lot of fears that I hear is because people are not stepping up and doing. They're thinking about what happened yesteryear and thinking that this is something that's going to continue to happen and looking at some things that happens to us. But I always say, when we look at how we're handling ourselves in certain situations, we also got to change how we handle ourselves. Like I said, we gotta move different. We cannot continue to handle ourselves in the way that we have been because we make ourselves victims to these people over and over again. And we're better and smarter than that. We can build on this land. Like I said, for me, when the time comes when I get to simmer down from the hustle and bustle with all this Grubhub and stuff, I'm going to check into my dad's side of the family. I know for many of us, we come from broken homes, and in that, you have to know both sides of the family, where they originate from, so that you can go ahead and track your family. So that's even a challenge. So for me, I'm going to start with taking the genealogy, right? And after that, whatever information that comes to me from that is where I'm going to start my research and tracking. And once I'm done with that, I'm getting myself federally recognized. I'm going to go ahead and do what I have to do. Once you're federally recognized, again, we don't need to. So what we need to take out of our strategy is advertising what we're doing. If you notice, when we advertise, this is during a pandemic, that Black women were the most educated and most successful group, right? We're the most college educated, starting the most businesses, the most entrepreneurs, getting those six-figure positions on a job. Well, after that information, it's like if there's been an attack left and right. Now you can't keep a job. The same people that are, you might as well say overqualified, have several degrees, or even if it's one degree, all of a sudden can't keep a job. That's impossible. So we don't need to advertise that. I don't know how we're going to, what type of communication we're going to have for each other to communicate on a broadband scan without them knowing, because what pisses me off with those people is they like to mind our business. So when we're doing things and building in silence, they're going to be finding there with trying to, because the thing with that kind of spirit is that when you become reclusive, you retract, they know you're not dead. So they're trying to figure out where the hell you at. So now they're going to start snooping to find out what's the conversation, what's the word, where people are gathering, how they're communicating, because they want to know what Black people are up to. Like, they have to be in our ethos spiritual systems. Like, they don't have their own spiritual systems. They want to know what we up to. And so they find a way of infiltrating. Doesn't matter how insidious or covert it is, until they find out what we're doing. But, so maybe we need to get back to a lot of word of mouth.
That's a question?
Sure.
No, I wasn't finished. Excuse me. I was not finished, my brother. Check your blood pressure. Hallelujah. Check your blood pressure, because you're getting antsy and hyper. Breathe in your belly. Breathe in your belly. Ooh. Oh, my God. Breathe in your belly. Listen, you clearly dropped the natural law of what we need to be doing. But my second question, since you said it, is the land is feminine energy. All prominent, besides Roman order and that hack that took place, is what changed the dynamics of this vibration because of the masculine, the male principle, I'll say that, because I don't even want to give them credence for being masculine,
There's nothing wrong with being masculine. We got to build.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't assume. I'm saying that because of their behavior. Masculine and feminine principle is governed by order. Being a female is not masculine. You got a male tiger, and they don't say masculine tiger, they say male, right?
Right.
And though he governs himself by order, he's still a beast. They eat flesh. But anyway, my point is, why are you choosing to look to your father's side before your mother's side, or do you have the information on your mother's side already?
Because my mom's side of the family is from Trinidad. And so that would be, for me to find out the indigenous side of my family, I need to trace my dad's side of the family. And those are the ancestors that's been protecting me, not my mom's side.
I understand, and it's very unfortunate. Godfrey. Boris, where you at? Where you go?
Go ahead.
Okay, I yield.
You want to let other people get questions in, if they have them. I believe Brother Joffrey, you had a question, and also Sister Latoya.
Mr. Joffrey, you want to go right ahead, Mr. Joffrey?
Okay.
Okay. Latoya, you have a question, huh?
Charlene, you said people think that they think that they are more better than you. You put in other words, you rephrase it in other words.
Who thinks that they're better than me?
Well, you said other words. You got to get people their flowers while they are here.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I just put it like this. Instead of giving their flowers while they're here, you should just you should acknowledge them. You should acknowledge them while they are here, and give them the most up respect, and stop assuming that things might be wrong with them, and stop making up foolish things. But I don't know what the daughter think what's wrong with people nowadays, because they are foolish. That's what I'm getting from people. That's what I'm getting from people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, what you said about acknowledging them, that's exactly what I meant by giving them their flowers while they're here. We should lift them up. We should acknowledge them. We should not think that they are our competition, or them being alive and us supporting them takes anything away from us, right?
Yes. Stop making up these foolish things that don't really stop making up things that's what Marcus said is the land of make believe. Stop making up these things.
Yeah.
Where is it coming from?
Because unfortunately, you have people that, with their insecurities, they build stories in their head about things that happen, right? And then you have people that actually do certain things because they are insecure. And because of that, that's never going to end. Envy is one of the 7 deadly sins. So what we also have to look at is that people with those personality disorders that are prone to envy, they cause confusion and much of the manipulation in lives. So when they start talking about the big off person, it's part never the truth. And people are easily believing to what they hear someone say.
I'm just trying to hear you in your background at the same time. It's kind of difficult to hear.
Let me close the window. Especially when people speak with conviction. Once you speak with conviction, which pulls on a person's emotional cord, it kind of snaps the attention, right? The people give them their attention. There's something about pulling on emotions, speaking from emotion that gets people's attention, and it's like a spell where people are easily manipulated by emotional outcries. And manipulative people know that. So when they come into you with issues or about a thing, it comes off as emotional. It comes off that they're so distraught. And, that causes people to want to do something about the problem right then and there. They think it's a problem they should take care of. And in that's how people are manipulated to going against actually good people, right? Because it is always typically the haters that are pulling on people's emotional cords. So we also have to look at why we're here. It's we're having these conversations, and people are not stupid. People are logical, and they know these conversations. But still in all, things end up happening where people are pulled in different directions. And the reason why they're pulled in different directions is because you have manipulators that don't want everybody to be on the same page, that's going to come up with lies, slander, rumors, and things like that to make it seem like, oh, this person is bad, or don't do that. That's bad. I lost an uncle, or I lost some family members, and this, that, and the third. And so now people don't know what to believe because they're listening to people tell stories about something to direct people in another direction. So a lot of what do you call those, revolutions and systems has been dismantled by those very same tactics. And that's the thing that we should be talking about more. These things that we're talking about now, we already know it. We know it like the back of, we know everybody know it. And like I said earlier, yet and all, we're still getting pulled in a different direction. So my thing is why? And it is through manipulation. And manipulation is tactics, like, you know, tactically telling small truths and big lies. They'll tell you a little truth and say, look it up. And when you go look it up and you find out that that's the truth, you get confident, and then you feel like this person is telling you the truth. Everything else they're telling you is a lie. But because you were confident and you looked up that one truth, you didn't look up anything else to tell you to know if this person is lying about anything else. So now you believe everything they say. 90% of what they're saying is a lie. 10% was the truth. Right? So these things happen, and then now it's easy for that to happen. It's really no one's fault. We still, like they say, life be lifing. So now we're living life. You know, people have children, they have families. You know, so sometimes they're single parents. They found out they got cancer. They found out they have this, a heart attack, a brain aneurysm. There's so many other things that's going on in life that's pulling people away to where they have to focus on their personal life. These things that we're talking about is an outer community, right? So now we're talking about building ecosystems so that we can thrive, and then other people in our communities, other indigenous people, who start to catch on and thrive. But in order for that to happen, that's like they say, when you're in the airplane, the plane is going down, you have to put your mask on first. So our mask is not fully on. It's hanging off the side of our face. So then we cannot help anybody else with their mask, and our mask is not on properly. And that's what continues to go on with us. And when they continue to do things like this, where they're killing our people like in Nolan Wells and things like that, like I said previously, I talked about that, they are feeding off of our energy when they do these things. So come on, go around me. When they realize that we're doing the right thing, we're happy, and we're all on the same page, they're going to do things to harm us, to get us in a state of fear. Right? So now, come on now. So now, let's see, this is what I'm talking about. Another hater. You standing right behind me with my business on. I'm trying to park with you in my way because, again, you have some antagonistic people. You feel like I shouldn't be that skilled to be able to park like that. I've got my hand going to go around me, and you want to drive up pointing your hand at me. But at no point was you ever going to park. But you're standing in my way. Those are the things that I'm talking about, and they take you off your throne. But getting back to what I'm saying, when they see that we're doing the right thing and it seems like we're living happy and things like that, they want to do things such as take out one of our good people. And they know this. When things like that happen, it doesn't matter. All of us are going to be in distress. We don't have to, but this is a young black boy or a young black girl. You know, they found a young, what was she, 23 years old, hanging from a tree in Mississippi. So now, you know what I mean? So when they do things like that, that also adds to the grief and the depression and the stress, and it takes you away from building an outer ecosystem, and it puts you back into survival mode. When you're in survival mode, you're trying to stay above water. So you're in that swimming pool damn near drowning, you're trying to stay above water. All your resources is going towards keeping yourself alive. You don't have extra resources to even think about building an ecosystem outside of your immediate family. And that's what they want us to be. Right. This is why I say that we got to move different. We got to understand what's going on and stop putting ourselves in certain situations. Handle ourselves better, because it's not just about our personal ego at the time when we're dealing with that individual at the time. It's also about the bigger picture.
Arlene?
Yes.
Arlene? Yes.
Yes.
I want to say that was incredible.
Thank
You got a
you,
wealth. And I mean, that was you unpacked that and you brought it across. But I would like to just ask one question of you, and for anyone else who's listening, and this is just a question about the topic tonight. Are we just fooling ourselves over and over? Now, with everything that was unpacked here tonight, I want to ask that question because it's a very pertinent question with respect to everything. Now, we have a system here: red and blue, elephant and donkey, Democrat, Republican, ballots, voting. Are we just fooling ourselves over and over again to put our destiny in the hands of those who claim to have our best interests at heart when we see the track record over years and decades of what has not been done?
I say yes. Now I'm going to say this. Because I do early voting and I work in West Orange, I've seen Asian people come in to vote. I've seen Indian people come in to vote. So they do vote. However, the voting system is not their source of survival. They understand playing the game, right? And I know I've said this before, and some people in our community may disagree. I am not a person that is for pulling yourself out of the game 100%. Because when you pull yourself back 100%, you create hysteria. And when we create hysteria in them, they still have all the power. Now we're going to deal with heavy backlash. Now it's going to be blatant and forceful attack, like guerrilla attacks. We don't need that. So we do need to participate in voting, but that cannot be our end-all, be-all. Like, they're going to make all the changes that we need to see, and you put all your hope into that. No, it should be a chess move that when you keep your name in the hat and in the game, remember, every time you vote, you add to the number. So whatever city and state you live in, if they need grants for programs in your area, it goes by the number of people who vote, not necessarily the number of people that actually live in your area. So it goes by the amount of voters, hence the amount of grant money that you're going to get for the programs. You want to keep your name in the hat and keep those programs going. Even if you think you don't profit by it, somebody else is profiting by it. And because you're playing the game to let somebody else profit, you can slip under the radar with building your own ecosystem because you still got your hand in one pot doing something else, and they don't have to know that you're doing something else. Let them continue to think that, that's our God. The voting system is our God. Let them continue to think that. We don't have to let them know that we're on to another thought process. Keep voting. I'm not going to stop voting. And I'm going to continue to voice my opinions and show passion and show my concerns for the whole voting process and for what's going on in our communities. But best believe I'm working on other ecosystems. I know for a fact that my survival is not, I'm going to be barely scraping and surviving under this system. I have to continue with building my own, and that's none of their business.
Well put, and well spoken. Would anybody else like to maybe respond to that particular question between voting, Democrat, Republican, elephant, donkey, red, blue? Are we fooling ourselves to believe that these two parties, or any parties for that matter, have our best interest at heart, and that we should give them our endorsement to do a job that for decades has fallen short, missed the mark? Anyone like to respond to that on our bite-sized podcast? Anyone? I know we have conversations about this quite a bit. You got it.
Okay, this is Edward again. The reason why I asked her what I asked her is because of the fact that the first 5 presidents was melanated indigenous people. So just like what she spoke to about the Asians and the Hindustan Indians, they are strong cultural people. They have their own supermarkets and all of these things. They have their own temples. This is another reason why they're so strong. They do business in their temples. We have a lot of churches and different things, but overall, all I'm emphasizing on is these could possibly be the methodologies and the reasons that we should do these things so that way we can tell them what we desire and require, because then we will be a stronger force in their machine, but governed by our intent and our sovereignty. And I yield.
I agree.
Anyone else? Anyone else? On that particular topic. Red, blue, donkey, elephant, Democrat, Republican. Voting and giving endorsement to do what's in our best interest, which is fallen short of the mark for past decades. Are we fooling ourselves to believe that they will do what's in our best interest?
Okay, when you mentioned Democrat and Republicans, right? Here's another thing. We have the transgender issue going on here, and I'm sick of it. This is why I say we also got to continue to play the game and keep our names in the hat. The Democrats have no problem with feminizing our voice, right? We have the biggest debates around transgender women participating in women's sports. We don't have these debates when it comes to transgender men. You know why? Because women understand that although they want to identify as a man, they don't have the strength and the power as a man. So they're not going to go and sign up to participate in men's sports. But we have men who saying that they identify as a woman are wanting to participate in women's sports. And this is just another a sign of misogyny, in my opinion. It's misogyny. These men are, when they participate in our sports, they're now taking our trophies and beating women at the sport. So what this looks like is you're identifying as a woman, but you're actually a man holding trophies and taking #1 spots in female sports. The Democrats are okay with this. The Democrats are okay with saying, what was this? I think it was the state of Florida, where they didn't want young girls to be talking about menstrual cycles and things like that. Why? Because you want to ready boys to be a transgender. And so boys cannot get a menstrual cycle. So now you want to tell natural-born girls that they're not allowed to talk about their menstrual cycle and things of that nature, because, of course, that's going to make the boys uncomfortable, because, of course, they cannot participate in the conversation. No, they didn't say that. But, yes, this is the reason why, you don't have to be a scientist to understand the reason why they don't want boys, they don't want us having these conversations. This is the Democrats that are in favor of this. The Republicans are not. Hence why I'm a firm believer that we have to continue to play that game and keep our hand in the pot. We should not just not say anything at all and let this whole thing blow up. Because if we let it, that's exactly what will happen. Because there are too many people out here, like I like to say, with personality disorders and issues of wanting to get their way. And if they can't find their way one way, they will break laws and push limits to get their ways in other ways. And we shouldn't allow that to happen. Right. I'm definitely having a conversation about that on Thursday. Right, because you're welcome. We're seeing young boys. Now, I will be 50 years old in December. Boys were very masculine and rough when I was at school. In today's time, we're seeing boys that some of them are on the football team, but you're doing dances and moving around like girls. You have feminine moves. Why? Why? You know, there's so much to talk about us fooling ourselves. We have to get back into principle. We've lost our way. Women have lost their way. And yes, I have to say women because we got to set the tone. But when women are here being pick-me's for men, they're not, you know, back in the days, boys used to have to go through a rites of passage before reaching manhood. There's no rites of passage. And women are just throwing themselves at men. But you're not putting them under no test for their character to see if that's going to become one that you should involve yourself with. There's a lot of bad acting men and bad acting women in the world that are creating the problems the very problems we're talking about is from the very same thing that I'm talking about. But if you have everybody's fault, the problem is there's more bad apples than there are good ones in both men and women. And what they're doing is hiring out the righteous people, the people that when we speak, we shake the ground. Get your shit together and stop nonsense. They don't want us to, they want to get rid of us so they can run amok. And when they run amok, there's no principle anymore. And everybody, all the bad apples will chop on one person like a school of piranha to get rid of you. And we're continuing to be manipulated by different narratives. But we got to strip all of this stuff and go look at it what it goes back to. Men think women have it easy because we don't have to earn our spot in the community. We don't have to work for that. They don't understand that our job comes when we have the children and have to raise children and upkeep the community. The men have to earn their spot. They have to show that they are the strategists, the providers, things to earn their spot, to have children, and build the foundation of the community. The men build the community. The women upkeep the community. And the women get to stay who's fit to be a part of the community. These principles are done because we have more bad apples who don't care about none of this stuff, but to run them up like idiots. And if we have more good apples speaking like this, everybody will have to back down and behave themselves. You know, there will be no wasting time on small, bigger, and badder and chit-chat. We want to know what's the principle of what's going on here. And they don't want that. They like the confusion because the confusion drives people away from the principle so they can hide in plain sight being the demons that they are. They're doing it with politics. In order for this to be a conversation with politics, why are you feminizing the boys? Well, a lot of men feel tired because patriarchy really affects men. It doesn't affect women. The patriarchy is really made to keep men at bay. You have a small handful of men that want to hog up all the wealth. Trillionaires, whatever, quadruplaires, whatever you call it. They want all the money, and they want to control everybody. As men know, if you're going to match power for power, some of these men that are in positions of power are not physically inept and strong like some of these other men that are out here. And so in order for them to keep the average man at bay, they have to have this patriarchal system where everybody is in the mud, bickering back and forth. So a lot of men are being beaten by patriarchy. If they're making $50,000 a year, $65,000 a year, they're not making much money to really uphold a household and uphold it on their dollar alone. So now that becomes a problem where he can't do it alone. The woman has to join in. So now that strips away from what his manhood looks like for him. Now the woman has to deal with a disgruntled man that also becomes abusive because his manhood is skewed to him because he can't see a way out of this ceiling that's right over his head. These are the conversations that need to happen. So now, because a lot of men are struggling from patriarchy, they would opt to say that they'd rather be transgender and they'd rather be gay and play the woman. Because now, if you're transgender and if you're gay, You're no longer held to the standards of having to earn your spot in community because you get to say that you're a woman. And then you have a lot of women that's supporting this.
Very well put on.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Well, I'll tell you, this is why they want to try to silence me. I've had people hex me to try to silence me. It's not going to happen. And my ancestors are not going to let it happen. And I am here for a purpose. But I'm telling you that they don't want you talking. They will try to get you out of the way. No one will want to hear me say that. Because all of this confusion that they say, you give me a mic and put me at the White House and this BS will be done. It will be done.
Well, I'll say this, Arlene. I'll say this. I agree with your sentiment. And I also have some of the same thoughts as you. I think that our strategies are just slightly different. Whereas my strategy deals with, a chessboard, so to speak, piece to piece level, so and so. However, mine deals more with the leverage, getting into it, but not becoming a part of it, but being able to, in certain ways, manipulate and control certain outcomes because of the leverage. So, but I do appreciate your sentiments and everybody who has spoken. I would like to ask really quickly, though, if there's anyone who did not have a chance to speak who would like to speak before we do our summations. We're opening the floor now. We're going to go 3, count down to 2, count down to 1. All right, it's done. It's done. We want to thank you all for joining us on the Monday Night Bite-Size Podcast. Of course, this is No Logic Strategies, Low Focus, Monday nights. And we do thank you all for joining us and giving us your inputs. There's a lot of information here today, but remember our topic. Think about it through the week. Apply it to situations that you might come in contact with on a daily basis, maybe even in your own lives, somebody else's lives, and ask yourself, am I really just fooling myself over and over again to believe that or to think that? It could be something that overplays in our psyche by default, by rote, by repetition. So, with that being said, my friends, we just want to remind you that tonight at 8 p.m., we've got Papa Terrence Wells coming in with the Wellsness podcast tonight. That's right, every Monday night at 8 p.m. It's right here on the Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself Progressive Podcasting Network. And we would love for you to join him tonight at 8 p.m. so you can listen to what he talks about and do what he do. Also, we want to let you know that tomorrow, Tuesday, 7 a.m., starting bright and early in the morning, is Miss Carol Lucille with the prayer call. That's right, with the prayer call. Make sure you tune in. It is definitely a good way and a positive way to start your day. So you might just want to get up early in the morning. You can be silent or you can be heard. But, yeah, it's a good way to get things going. 7 a.m. prayer call, Miss Carol Lucille. At 6 p.m. on the same day tomorrow, Jada and Karen with Grace Space Podcast. And at 7:30 again, once again, you got Miss Carol. And this is the second Tuesday of the month, so men and women can come together on the pink sofa with Miss Carol Lucille and be a part of that conversation. I want to thank everybody who came out to the live event on August the 8th at the Newark YMCA. We're also talking Network, Disease Prevention Convention, and Health Forum. Thank you for coming out and supporting the podcasters and your other special guests, as well as our keynote speaker, Miss Leslie Wright. And without further ado, everybody, you know it is customary and it is the way we roll. Flow focus. Brother, your bite-sized podcast is gaining traction. But you know what? I want you to give us your final thought of the day, with a little bit of action. You got it, so you got the last word, brother. You take us out of here.
Yes, indeed. Thank you
It
so
was
much.
a pleasure to meet you, Marcus.
Pleasure was all mine.
No, yes, indeed, guys. And gals, thank you guys and gals so much for tuning in tonight, sharing and offering your thoughts and opinions and perspectives and philosophies and all of these different things. You know, you are amazing, and this is what it's all about. You know, the question or the topic, you know, never deviated. I even, you know, appreciate Miss Joyce. You know, I don't know if I even ran into Miss Joyce, and I didn't do all the asking and offering that I expected I wanted to do, and you know, I ran around that room doing my best to, you know, fight off the heat and the delirium from the sauna that was that day. But I do appreciate everyone for showing up that day. We did a great job.
I sat under the fan.
I was over in the other corner by a fan as well. So yeah, for a couple of minutes. But yeah, see, that's the thing. You know, it was so hard to move around that day, and man, I did look forward to seeing everyone there. I do appreciate bumping into who I did. And next time, you know, things will be a lot better so we can have a more easy and relaxed time there. We got a whole year to plan it, guys. But on topic tonight, you know.
Forrest and I already had the conversation, so we're already off for work.
See, that's the whole point.
Good vibe. I felt good. Seeing you all's faces.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And Almal was, you know, happy. He said, you know, it grew. It was much, much bigger and busier than it was last year because, you know, this is my first year. So we're going to continue to grow. And so we got great things in store for next year. And even before next year, what you guys hear?
See, this is what it's all about, guys and gals. You know, I want to offer you all again the opportunity to go to prologicstrategies.com/groups and create your own group there, you know, or join the group there called Bite Size Podcast so that we all can share and continue these conversations in more and more detail, you know, in, I guess you could say, a more private form in a way that we can, you know, for lack of a better term, choose who is part of the conversation and who isn't, you know, for whatever decisions we're going to make moving forward, for whatever formal conglomerate or, you know, connections we want to end up making moving forward. That's the whole point here. You know, are we fooling ourselves? And the question stands because at the end of the day, we are not all on one accord. So if we are not on one accord, we're actually doing our best to, you know, I guess, change other people's perspectives away as opposed to connecting somewhere in the middle, not to compromise ourselves, but to learn and grow together so that we can vibrate closer towards the overall goal of being self-sufficient. You know, we don't want to be in survival mode. We want to be in calm, cool, relaxed mode. You know, we want to be sitting easy, chilling with the breeze. You know, so at the end of the day, all of these conversations are here to give our perspectives and share our point of view and our grievances and, you know, our perspectives on how procedure might have to go down, or, you know, our topics on whether or not society is offering the right types of environment for us to cultivate the types of people we want to be. The environments are what offers us the cultivation. You know, that's what offers us the sustenance to be who we want to be. The environment gives us that chance to or to not progress. So the Prologic Strategies website, the Xtra-Hype Connection podcast, the Grown Folks Talking Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network, we're just an example of how we want to offer platforms and places, environments for people to cultivate that fearlessness, the community to reclaim that invisible value that we do have, that we, I guess for lack of a better way to put it, we don't express all the time because there aren't avenues for us to express that perspective, that joy, that freedom, that value that we see in ourselves. I always use things like anime and cartoons and comic books to offer people the chance to use their imagination and, overlay these stories and fictions onto our reality so that our emotions can get involved a lot more in our comings and goings, because I think that if we become a lot more excited and passionate about being a great use, a great offering of service and a great support to the people around us, then that will rub off in the people and the places and in the environments that we find ourselves. It all starts with you waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to be the change that I want to see. And if we can continue with that effort, it doesn't matter if we run into someone who isn't on that path. They can run into us, have their preconceived notions, and have them shattered, because all we did was show them that we live above the rhetoric. We live above the, what do you want to call a stereotype, the narrative, the kayfabe, the games, the fiction that we all tell ourselves and we might fall victim to sometimes. But that is all in respect to the fact that the question still stands. Are we fooling ourselves? And we can ask this question until we're blue in the face. And I don't want to say I have the answer to it, but this whole network is here to help us answer that question at every moment of the day. Be it when we go talk to a young lady that we fancy, or just a clerk at the window who may or may not be having a good or bad day. So I'll land it there, guys, but just always remember that we only do this because we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So tune in with us next time on Fridays. We'll have some cooler talk for y'all to engage in. And, just look forward to a lot more of what's happening here with the network and with the people here. I want to learn more about these big ideas that we all have. I want to hear more of these fancy wackadoo strategies that we might be able to implement, because at the end of the day, we can trim the fat to what's important and spit out the bones, so that we all can progress forward in a way that's beneficial to us all. So until coming up next, stay tuned, all right? His brother Terrence is here with Wellsness, his lovely and amazing podcast, sharing with you a lot of beautiful information on a plethora of topics. I don't want to spoil it for you. So stay tuned at 8 o'clock here on the Grown Folk Talking Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. And for everyone here at the Xtra-Hype Connection podcast, until next time, everyone, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Are you
Goodbye.